my friend at Radico Ketan, how's he doing his digital stuff or how's he doing his sales stuff. And that as a cultural thing needs to be, you guys need to learn that. And you guys are already doing it in your lives. Today on social media, you guys, when you're buying a product, you're already learning from your colleagues, you're already learning from your peers. So in your work life, I think a lot of that needs to be imbibed and replicated. And if you start replicating that, you'll automatically see that your learning curve is going up. And if your learning curve is going up, you're able to spot trends faster, quicker, and more efficiently ahead of maybe competition. And which effectively turns out to be a competitive advantage, because I think initially you said when we started the discussion is that everything can be replicated today. If I build an IP today, which is an IP for let's say 7 days, on the 8th day it's no longer an IP, right? Go-to-market times have reduced. How do you fundamentally create a structure or an ecosystem of marketers or brand builders of organizations which are getting future ready? By believing in yourselves, believing in your instincts, using data as a reference point. You can't use data to, as the gospel truth. They are indicators. But more importantly, imbibe this in your DNA that, hey, I need to learn. I was narrating to the group a few hours back, is that last 3 years that I've been evangelizing digital in my own firm has been a phenomenal learning experience. Most of what I had learned in 16, 17 years in traditional industries, I had to fundamentally unlearn all of that. It wasn't an easy process, it's very painful. But you got to orient yourself to learn new things constantly, consistently, and therefore effectively create competitive advantage.
Great thought. Adaptability and being future ready. Ankur, your views?
Yeah, I have a non-technical take on technology. If I may, I think the basic question is, are we ready for technology, right? And my answer to that is, why should we be ready? My point is that technology is a new tool, or say new sail ship with which we'll discover new continents. It's a tool in our hands. We're not prepared for it? Of course not. We have the infrastructure? No, but did the first explorer have all the answers before he ventured out? I think this is a young group, and I consider myself young too. That's besides the point. But I think if we have an attitude of being open-minded and open to new adventures, I think technology is a great new tool in our hands. We don't get it completely, and it's evolving. And as long as we have the right mindset and we're willing to explore, experiment, I think, I don't think there is a word such as future ready, excuse me. I think we don't know what's out there right now, outside this hall. So all you can do is you can have the right attitude for seeing what comes next. And you guys have a long way to go. Good luck, that's all that I can say.
Thanks, Ankur. Optimism. That seems to be, the message that Ankur is giving us. Shishir, your take on this.
Coming back to your questions, are the consumers ready? Yeah, they are ready. Look at in India, a smartphone is available at 5,000 rupees. So you have the accessibility, so you are ready. I think 1 year back it was e-commerce, now people are calling it m-commerce. And the latest what I'm hearing is t-commerce, the tablet commerce, which is going to again explode because you get a better experience, screen experience, you can navigate better. There are new things coming in, I don't know, I'm very scared talking about digital technology sitting behind the sides. But whatever I know, my junior colleagues tell me, so I'd like to share with them the new technology that is BLE, what you are talking about, it can really make things different. You go to a cinema hall and you see how many seats are vacant on your screen is tremendous. But only thing what scares me is, look, infrastructure-wise, we are not ready. Now, Airtel has become 4G, but I am not sure if I start talking from here and I will not have a call drop there. So, we are not ready infrastructure-wise. The other thing that our policy, government policy, is also not yet ready. Now, there is sometimes some cases going on preferential treatment, and those things are happening. Secondly, when you visit sites like Google and all that, there's so much of personal information you are indirectly passing on about you, about the country, about your company. This is all, so you don't know how those informations are processed, where it is stored, who is using them, how they are being used. So your private space is invaded. That's the negative side to it. But we are right now in a position, we do not have a choice but to accept it. So that's how I take it.
I'll finish it in a single line. And much as I don't like using people, but Pablo Picasso is another one of those greats, and he said it takes a long time to grow young. I'm growing younger.
Thank you so much. I think, before we close, so Ramchu, you spoke about, your old theoretical three C's. I learned three new C's, right? One I learned is cross-industry innovation is what is going to, be the future. Whether I'm looking at a BMW 1, which comes out of gaming, whether I look at my Nike shoppers, which come out of shock absorbers. And then I learned about a cooperative economy without which we cannot survive. We cannot survive. And Yogesh, ultimately it's about connecting the dots. If you've got the dots together, you've got a winner on your hand. So I will not take further ado in opening the floor for questions.
Fourth C is content.
Wow. Yeah, without content, it's all.
It's hollow.
Yeah, it's hollow. So we'll open the floors to questions. All our panelists would love to hear, what is troubling you based on what we're making. So please tell us who the question is addressed to.
Good afternoon, esteemed panelists. It was wonderful hearing you all. My question is directed towards Mr. Ram. Sir, you said that you have launched a new brand, Electra. So, a person either drinks or he doesn't drink. I may prefer to go for a Bacardi Breezer because I just like to drink it. Liquor being a high involvement product, it is not something I buy on an impulse basis. If I drink it, I drink it. So I may not go to a restaurant if that restaurant doesn't serve my brand. How do you establish your particular brand, the new brand, into the mind of a consumer? Like for example, I might go for a Breezer because it serves me with 4% alcohol. 8% alcohol might serve as a negative too. So how do you establish that disruptiveness into my mind that I go for your brand? Ujjwal sir.
Thanks, Ujjwal. So there is no one-size-fits-all kind of a remedy to this question that you pose.
So through clever research, we've been told that the sweet spot in the market is that 8% consumer who's willing to try something different, and we are going for that. But I think on a more general level, so we have a Ontrade program. So an Ontrade program is where we sell at these clubs. You sell and you consume at the places known as Ontrade as opposed to off license. So in the Ontrade, we would have our brand also present wherever a Bacardi Breezer, let's say, is present. And what we would try to do is through various sampling techniques, whether it's under the garb of a ladies' night or a happy hour, we would try and encourage you to consume this because there's a special feature pricing or there's a new flavor, and just technically speaking, an 8% can be diluted down to 4% by just adding water or soda. So that's it's hard to go up, but it's easy to come down. Okay, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So the way we look at it is our biggest advertisement is our product, and somehow, somewhere, we would try and get you to sample it. That would be our way in, and rest the product should do for itself. And there are several other ideas to get it in your face through a tent card, through menu listing, through having promoters on the ground who will talk about the product attributes. Maybe you won't have it, but maybe one of your friends will. And if your friend does, maybe they'll speak well of it for you to want to try it. So, the standard 360 degree, we try and cover it so there are many contact points for you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for the great insights that you people gave. Since we talked about innovation today, one of the greatest innovation that has happened in the recent past is 3D printing, that is additive manufacturing. Now, I have had the pleasure of working on this during the last year of my graduation, so I know a little bit about it. My question is, why in India has it not been able to grow as compared to US or Europe properly? And do you think that in the coming time, India can shift to its more usage in manufacturing industry or any other industry for that matter? It's a general question to.
So, obviously 3D is a wonderful technology. It is, in India, it is still in its inception stages, right? It's the equivalent of saying that 6G is already prevalent in, let's say, Japan, but India is still grappling with, its 2G or its 3G or perhaps its 1G. So for sure, these are things that will come into this country, and there will be a time for these things to walk into the country. If you look at the industry side of the story, which is where it is applied, industry really hasn't grown in this country. The contribution of industry to the national GDP is about 16%. That's the figure, and it has remained 16%. Whereas the mix between the services and the farm sector contribution to the GDP have completely stood up on their head. Farms earlier, the farmer used to contribute about 50%. Now he's down to about 39%, and the balance is now being made up by the service industry. So unfortunately, industry hasn't received the kind of impetus or the pat on its back from the government, etc. I'm sure this will make inroads into this country. The conventional industrialists in this country are very happy doing conventional work. Okay, so motorcycles will definitely get printed, but it'll still take a bit of time. Like I said, you have 2G today, you will get to 6G.
Thank you. Thank you.
My question is directly to the entire panel. There was a lot of talk about how adaptability and need to encourage cross-cultural fit and basically innovation. My question is addressed to you all. What is it that each of you in your companies or in the brands are doing to encourage innovative thinking in their employees? So that's to adapt to the future.
At Microsoft, I can speak for Microsoft. We used to lay a lot of emphasis on diversity hiring, which meant that no two people that we hired were the same. But that brought into our midst a variety of people, a variety of opinions, and then everybody lived with each guy's lunch, and that sort of encouraged a lot of that adaptability thing that you're talking about, because you tend to learn in an environment which is open and receptive, and not in an environment which is overwhelmed with only one kind of people or one sex of people or one type of people, etc. So I think that's where adaptability is essentially a human factor, right? So I think diversity, to my mind, comes to be as the primary reason or the cause for adaptability.
Good afternoon. My question is open to all the panelists. Make in India is being promoted by Indian government, and Indian consumers have this mindset that foreign brands are much better than Indian brands. So how it will affect the organization and how the organizations are working towards it to change the mindset of consumers?
You're not referring to, that's a personal opinion, I take it as, it's a personal opinion. Thank you. It's not the opinion, it's not a pervasive opinion. I don't think anybody talks about Indian products as being poorer in quality to a US product or a Chinese product. But it's a personal opinion, thank you.
Just to add to that, a lot of foreign brands are also now making in India. So making in India is not about just Indian brands making in India. It's about foreign brands, the so-called foreign brands and international players also shifting manufacturing bases here. Right? And as Yogi said, it's not that just because it's a made in India label, that perception is all pervasive. I mean, yes, there are mindset issues, But fact is there are Indian brands which are equally good. I mean, if you look at the FMCG landscape, for instance, because that's what we normally relate to as as consumers, you have a Dabur in the same breath as, let's say, a Colgate Palmolive or as a Procter and Gamble, right?
I think I agree with you. See, I do not know about software where India has got a good image. But if you look at a car, which Indian car you can compare it with the German car? You cannot. You look at apparels. We make apparels here in India and you export it under the brand name of Tommy Hilfiger and it comes back here and we pay a higher price and buy. We means other people, I don't buy. So I'm saying, and we are responsible for that. We people who are at the senior management level, we are responsible for it. I think we do not make a conscious effort to add quality or value to our product. It's all about a mindset. Even I was talking to the people while traveling from my office that Make in India will be successful if we change our mindset. Now, most of the products, you look at small staple products like spices. Do you know there is a quality difference between what we export and what we consume here?
Yes.
Huge difference. But we subject ourselves to that kind of spices and we are quite happy about it. We can say, yeah, my brand is better, India is better, whatever it is. But the quality specs, what other countries ask for it, the quality specs, what we have in our food, totally different. So unless we upgrade the quality, unless we invest in making a good quality product, this image will take time. It will take time.